Julia. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. A couple days ago, I asked you guys to ask me some questions over on Instagram comparing my life in America to my life here in Russia, and today I'm going to answer those questions. But first, I do need to put out a little disclaimer. This is just my experience living in the place that I am in Russia. It's a pretty small town. All I can say is what I have learned from my experience living here. So this is just my opinions, and keep that in mind. Okay, let's start. So the first question is the differences in raising a child. I haven't had to raise a child here. My child is 11 months old, but I was raised in America, and knowing the way that people are raised here, I think it is just a little bit more still conservative, and there isn't just these crazy mass media trends that you see everywhere else and the things that are popular somewhere else, whether it's politics or fashion or just general people's interests. It is very different from here. So I think that here maybe just easier, if you're a Christian, you have a more Christian conservative point of view, then here probably is easier to kind of close your kids off from what's going on in the world. I feel I don't know. That's just my opinion. Next question. Governmental differences and effects of it on taxes and laws, etc. I wouldn't really know how to answer this question all that well just because I don't have a job. Most of the people where I live work on construction, and it's they talk person to person to their to the person that they're building a house for or fixing a car for or something like that, and none of it is actually anywhere officially. There isn't any paperwork involved, and so I don't really know how people deal with taxes and that kind of stuff. So I'm not really sure how to answer that because I don't know too much about that, and I just don't want to say something that wouldn't be very accurate. Next question is one food you miss the most. I can't say just one, but I miss pizza, I miss donuts, I miss Chinese food. I think those are the main things. Next question. Not exactly on topic, but do you speak English or Russian to Emma? I speak Russian to Emma. I do try to incorporate some English because I want her to be familiar with it, and she does hear it from me, when I'm talking to my sister or my friends or something. She does hear me speak English. In America, I do want to teach her English because I remember going to school not knowing any English, and that was really difficult. I didn't understand what was going on most of the time, and I would want to prepare her a little bit more for that. But for now, while she's little, I don't want her to forget Russian too fast when we move to America. And my husband only speaks Russian, my parents speak Russian, his parents speak Russian, so definitely Russian is more popular when it comes to speaking to Emma. The next question is 5 things that I like more in America than I do in Russia and vice versa. So the first thing that I really like in America more than I like here is the way people drive. People in America are very respectful on the roads. They turn on their blinkers, stop at red lights, actually let you through if it's not their turn to go. Here it's definitely much more crazy, and I do not like that here. And I definitely appreciate how respectful people are on the roads in America. And that leads to the second thing. People are respectful, employees are respectful to customers or patients or clients or whatever. Here it's not their job to be nice to you. If I ever make a joke or something while I'm standing at the cash register, I just get these really weird looks why are you even talking to me? That might be just in my town, I don't know, but pretty much everywhere I've been here, most of the employees are they will only do their job, and talking to you and being nice to you is not part of it. So that's one thing that I really appreciate in America. The third thing that I like in America more is the food and the variety of different foods. Again, with the pizza and the Chinese food and the donuts, I mean, it's mostly junk food. I do really miss having easy access to be able to go out somewhere, and here that's mostly a problem because I live in such a small town, and the nearest place with a fast food restaurant or something would be, with a good fast food restaurant, would be in notced, which is 40-50 minutes away. The fourth thing I'm in America much more is just, I don't know, the busy lifestyle of people. And here it's just not busy because it's a small town, and in a bigger city it would obviously be, busier. There would be more cars, there would be more people, there would be more different kinds of people, whereas here it's just you see the same thing every day. you go outside, you see pretty much the same people every day. I'm just not that kind of person that likes that kind of thing. And the fifth thing is the fashion. In America, there's just so much more like variety in stores, and with people walking around you, you get to see a lot of really different kinds of people, whereas here everybody kind of like dresses the same. They have the same trends in the same style always. And so I definitely appreciate fashion a lot more in America. Now moving on to things that I like here more than in America. I can't name 5, I just can't think of 5 things. The first thing would be the cultural food here. So there's these things here called hichili. I love them. They make them really good, and I don't think anybody in America could beat what they make here when it comes to that. The second thing would be, like for me as a Christian, the kind of conservative ways here. Not in the way that there's no progress, because that's something that I don't like. You see a lot of kids playing outside, you see them like building things with rocks and sticks, you see kids exploring a lot more than I feel like in America. When I was a kid, yeah, we played outside all the time, but now, the last few years that I lived there, there was almost never kids playing outside, and I was always like, wow, where I know there's kids, I know my neighbors have kids, but like they're not really playing outside that much anymore. They're more like into electronics. But here, living in a small town, most adults don't even have smartphones, let alone children. So I kind of like that, the fact that they're just like more outside. They're more creative because of that, because they're not like sitting in their phones or on the computer all day. Next question. Quality of baby food and regular food. So there's 2 basic places where you can buy food here. The first one is at a farmer's market, so like a bazaar. I don't know if you guys know that word, but it's basically people gather their own like fruits and vegetables, and they sell it at a local market where it's completely fresh, and getting food there is definitely a lot better than it would be getting like at a supermarket in America, and especially here, because here food in supermarkets it's not good. It's just like when it comes to meat and vegetables and fruits and that kind of stuff, it's much better locally grown, and I think that applies to everywhere probably. With baby food, I don't know, I didn't really buy that much baby food. We did baby-led weaning with Emma. Didn't really buy like purees and other baby foods, and especially in America. I didn't have a kid when I lived in America, so I can't say too much on baby food, but the baby food that we did buy was okay. I mean, the ingredients seemed to be fine. As far as I know, it was pretty good. You mentioned you don't drive in Russia. Has that been a struggle? Yes and no. I can walk everywhere. The supermarket is like 10 minutes away. The farmer's market is like 10 minutes away. If I need to go to the bank, it's like 10-15 minutes. Emma's doctor, my doctor, everybody's like 20 minutes away walking. But it is harder in the fact that like if I want to go to a mall, or if I want to go out and just have some coffee, I have to drive far away. I don't get to like sit down and drive to wherever I need to. But pretty much I get to wherever it is I need to be by walking, so that's okay. Would you still have made a YouTube channel if I lived in America? No. Probably not. The thing is, when I lived in America, I did not watch as much YouTube. After moving here, and I just had a lot more free time, and so I was watching a lot more YouTube, and I did start thinking about it then, because I was like, I mean, this is really cool. I think this is interesting. I think that'd be really cool to try something like this. Next question. Difference between getting a license here in Russia, getting a license, at least where I live, it's a lot harder. The test for like the rules and stuff is a lot more difficult. There's a lot more memorizing involved, which is crazy because that means everybody that has a license went through a difficult process to get it, but they don't drive very well. I don't know why. I think it's just the mentality of people. Also, most people here drive a manual car, and it's a learning process to learn to drive a manual car, I can tell you that. Getting an education or a job. I know that here it's very different, even though I don't have an education here. I've never had a job here. Again, most people are not working officially. There isn't like paperwork involved a lot of the times. And with scheduling, that's another thing that's very different with both a job and an education. Like you apply for a certain like major or something, and they have your schedule ready for you. You don't get to choose your hours. You don't get to choose like days that you don't want to have any classes and you just want to like focus on homework and stuff. That's not the way it works here. Same with having a job. Like here, everything is built on shifts. If you're working in the supermarket, you can't just say like, oh, I can only work during the day because then I have to go pick my kid up from school. No, you're working 12-hour shifts. And whether that's like 5 days a week, or it's like 3 days a week or whatever. I don't really know for sure how you do it, but I just know that you can't just like pick and choose, like if you want to work evenings or you want to work during the days, or if you can't work weekends. And so it's a lot harder for somebody like me that has a child, for example, to get a job because of the way that things work, and you can't just like build your own schedule, whether that's with education or having a job. And I think that's very difficult, and that doesn't really make sense to me. Okay, next question. Differences in churches, if there is any. So I can only speak for my church in America, where I lived, in the church that I go to here. Even though the church that I went to in America was also a Russian church, it was still different just because we lived in a place with so much people coming from very different backgrounds, and that kind of made the church more progressive, I guess, and things changed a lot in the church that I was in America, whereas here it's more conservative and it's kind of been the same for a really long time. The people here are always the same. It's just, in that way, it's very different. But that's just my church there and my church here. How about the homes there? I noticed in your last video, gas was controlled by the owner. So we live in an apartment building. The gas is controlled by, I don't know who, the people that are in charge of controlling the gas. And you can't like turn on your radiators or turn off radiators whenever you want. You can't make them hotter or cooler. You have no control over that kind of thing. Just the way that the homes are built here, I feel like it's just not logical. The kitchens are tiny. There's always doors everywhere. Like the kitchen and the living room are always like 2 separate rooms. And that's like makes no sense to me, because our kitchen is literally the size of probably the bathroom in my house in America. Well, my parents' house in America. In the summer, we don't have water here because people that own homes can build like a well type thing and they have access to water whenever, whereas here, like, we just don't have water whenever there's everybody at once is like watering their gardens or something. That kind of sucks. But people that live like in neighborhoods and have their own homes, it isn't different for them. They can control their gas and their water. Another big difference in how the homes are built is in America, mostly they're wooden, like the whole frame and everything is made of wood, whereas here it's like blocks and cement. Next question. Different expectations towards men and women, or is it becoming more modern? So as I mentioned before, I live in a very conservative area, in a Muslim area, and men and women are treated very differently here. So one thing that shocked me when I moved here is a lot of the times, whenever they're driving in the car, the woman is always in the back seat. Not always, but just like the majority. I have seen some that sit in the front, but they just have those kind of rules. A lot of marriages here are arranged, and that's the way that people have lived here, and it's the culture and the religion that they're in. And obviously Russians here are different. They are more modern, they are more progressive. It's more like the religious people that are like that. Is it like in the movies where there are gangs everywhere? No, it's not. Maybe, but I wouldn't know. I'm not part of one, haven't heard of any, so no, I'm guessing no. Are you allowed to proclaim you're a Christian like here in America? Nobody is going to like say anything to you for being a Christian or for being open about it. There are just certain rules that we do have to follow here. Nothing too like extreme or bad. It's just a little bit different here, and that's not just Christianity, that's all religion here. What's the corona situation like? Corona. So in bigger cities, from what I know, it's really bad. Like in Moscow and other big cities, public transport is being shut down. People are having to social distance, wear masks, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's kind of how it is like in America right now. But here in our small city, nobody wears masks, nobody social distances. I don't even own a mask. Nothing is closed. There are people that are sick, and it is getting pretty bad here. We've entered into the second wave, actually. Right now, cases have grown a lot, especially in the bigger cities. How is your daily routine or social circles different? Oh wow, it's very different. And I don't know if this is just moving to Russia or if it's because I got married. When I was living in America, I was not married. I had a job, I was in college, I was really busy in the church, I had friends that I went out with, and the people that I hang out with here are mostly married, have children, like that kind of circle of people. But that's not just because I'm in Russia, that's mostly because like my status changed. So last question. What was the hardest thing about moving from America to Russia? Oh, where do I start? I think the hardest thing was that very lifestyle change that I was just now talking about. All of a sudden, I'm here, I don't have my friends, I don't have my family, I don't have a job, I don't go to school, I'm just sitting here at home. That was really difficult for me. I just missed my church, I missed American culture, I missed driving. I was just shocked at the system here, and it was just a huge cultural shock that I feel like hasn't gone away to this day. And I think that a lot of that isn't just because I'm not used to it, it's the fact that I just don't think that it's acceptable. But I have my husband and my daughter here, and I'm very thankful for the internet because I get to talk to my friends and family. In the end, it's okay. This is temporary. So that's it for the questions. Thank you guys so much for asking these. I had such a good time answering them. And if you want to be a part of something like this again, follow me on Instagram. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys again so much for watching. Bye.